the computer. Awesome. Here we go. Um, yeah. So behavior change is something that I've been has been cropping up very, very, I don't know. I think it's been more consistent over the past few weeks, and I'm not sure why. I'm trying to identify, I always look at why that could be the case. Actually, before I start, why do you think that behavior change is so difficult? Like, what is it about um, ch the change of behavior that is so challenging for you individually, you specifically, you ladies specifically? Just
I
jump
don't
on.
know. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can. I got you.
Right. For me, it was because we're stuck in our ways for so long.
Hmm.
Um, Trying to change and make a new habit was quite difficult. The one
Yep.
thing that I found easy to get rid of, although I do still have some, is sugar. Um, don't know how or why, because at the time I was eating so much sugar. When I think back, but it's made a massive difference to how I feel.
Yeah,
Mm.
it will do. Sugar's I think sugar's a funny one because sugar is not just obviously in all the delicious foods, but it impacts you physiologically as well. Not just like in the population of gut bacteria, which will then can drive certain behaviors. For example, if you've got a very sugar philic, which means loves sugar, if you've got a very sugar philic gut bacteria, you're going to crave more sugary type foods. Whereas if
Mm.
you've been somebody who's had vegetables nonstop for the past 3 months, that's unlikely. You're going to have more of a fibrous philic, I suppose. Foods that are nourishing the gut bacteria is going to be very different. So that will drive the the hunger for those types of foods. But I think that's definitely an aspect. I think for me, behavior change is, on paper, it's quite straightforward. It's quite you just go, oh, do this, this, and this, but it doesn't ever come out as that. So, for example, if you know, ultimately the behavior change has to be your responsibility, right? Extreme ownership, ultimate responsibility, because we can have, oh, this is what I need you to do every single day. And that part of my job is very simple, help you achieve positive, lasting change in the behavior that you want to, what you choose as important to you. Um, but I can't supply that energy for you to fulfill what I want you to do, right? I'm with you every step of the way to, hey, here's how you stay on track. This is how to not regress to a former self. But I think it doesn't diminish a truth of behavior change that is meaningful behavioral change is very hard to do. It's very hard to initiate any sort of behavioral change. It's even harder to stay the course. And then after that, it's even harder to make it stick. So I'd actually go as far to say that adult behavioral change is the most difficult thing for, you know, us sentient beings to accomplish. And if you think that I'm sort of overstating the difficulty, think about my personal thing. I've been trying to learn the piano for however many years. I would say it's been a dream for ages, but it's been at least 8 years where I've been going, yeah, this is the year. And it's clearly not that important to me because I haven't made it stick. But I want you to ask yourself these questions if you think I'm overstating. Like, ask yourself, what do you want to change in your life? Could be something major, like weight, that's a huge one. Could be something job, that's a big one too. Could be something minor, like, oh, I just want to change my hairstyle. I want to check in with family more often. Whatever it is, it could be the color of your living room. It's not my place to judge what color you have it or what you want to change. But ask yourself that question, then ask, okay, how long has this been going on for? Because so many people we speak to. It's, for example, let's take weight. So many people we speak to in a big support group are like, I've been struggling with, let's say, 3 stone. Cool. How long has it been going on for? And it's more often than not in the years.
Mm.
It's towards the years or even the decades rather than the months, right? Okay, so how many months, how many days, how many years have you risen in the morning and told yourself some variation of the phrase to this is the day I make a change. This is the day I finally lose weight. And then, this is you heading looking backwards now because obviously you're all making progress. But then ask yourself like, how did that work out for me?
Mm.
Right? Is there a specific moment that you can pinpoint where you decided to change something in your life and you acted on the impulse and it worked out for your satisfaction? There is most of the times we often fail at that, right? And that means that behavior change is bloody difficult. And what those three questions do is they conform to the sort of problems that we face in introducing that change into our lives. Right? Number one, we can't admit that we need to change. Either it's because we're unaware that change is desirable, something that we actually need, or actually is more likely. We're aware that we're sort of reason because some of the women that I speak to will undershoot, and this is probably because of past failings. They will undershoot their goal. Let's say they really want to lose 4 stone, but they just say to me, "I want to lose a stone," and it's probably because of, firstly, the task seems so large, and it's just like, fucking, I'm never gonna do 4 stone. It's just stupid. It's probably also because they note that doing 4 stone, losing 4 stone is not going to be done in a month. So there's going to be need to be real change, real transformation, because we always, humans, elaborate these excuses that deny our need for change. I'll give you a simple example. We've got some family over here. We've got Viola's brother here and stuff. And we've I'm trying to lose a bit of weight before we head to the UK, right? So I'm on I'm doing really good with my food and stuff. Let me just let not too sure who that is, iPhone. I'm doing really well with my food, and then they're like, "Oh, let's go for a burger this weekend." And I'm thinking, I know I can have that. It's not a problem. I don't want it, but because everyone else is having it, and then I'll start to, and they seep in the excuses. Come on, you don't, come on, you don't need to lose weight, or you don't need to, you don't need to. It's fine for if you have that, because like, come on, it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often, that we do this, and there is an element of that, but it's also where I notice these excuses seeping in. I actually don't want to go for a burger. I'm happy to have a burger when I want, but I'm feeling so focused right now. I'm feeling so in the mode. I don't want any of that. Like, and I know I can have it. I know I can have some chocolate if I wanted to. I haven't had some for a while, but um, these 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 excuses come in from the third party, let's say, and I start to somehow come around to those excuses as well. I've noticed myself this morning, they were talking about it. I was having a coffee and I was thinking to myself, yeah, man, we'll just get a burger, go to the city and like, and that's not even my decision. Like, I don't even want to do that, but I start to, so I suppose not, I suppose let down my guard a bit. And I was thinking to myself, come on, you're doing so well. You don't actually want that. If they weren't here, you wouldn't be doing that.
Mm.
So I think that number one is that I definitely need to sustain the course because I want to achieve what I want to achieve. That discomfort of that of us potentially having separate foods is hard. The change is hard, and I've sort of we have deep-seated beliefs that trigger that resistance to change sometimes as well. We don't appreciate the power that inertia has over us. So if someone's given the choice, right, we rather than go for a walk today or do nothing and watch Netflix, what we prefer to do nothing, right? I do. I know I do, which is why when I asked the question to the ladies that join, would potentially want to join the program, it's just like, how long have you been doing this for? It's literally years. It's years rather than days. And it's just like inertia is the reason we never start the process of change. It takes that extraordinary effort to just to stop doing something in that sort of comfort zone because it's painless, it's familiar, or it's even mildly pleasurable. Like the body loves that comfort. But it's just that comfort is the area of no growth, right? If you want to start something difficult, if you want to actually finally run a 5K, if you want to actually lose that 4 stone finally, it takes extraordinary effort to stop doing something that is so lovely in the comfort zone. It's pleasurable. Um, we know that that comfort zone is not helpful for us in the long run. So, so I can't supply that effort, and that is obviously up to you and everybody else trying to battle their thing. But with a simple process of like emphasizing that sort of structure and non-negotiables and self-monitoring, that is the kickstart, that is the trigger. Um, and then this is not relevant for you, but it is relevant for people that don't have non-negotiables. They don't know how to execute change. There's a difference between motivation and understanding and ability. For example, we might be really motivated at the moment to lose weight, right? But we lack the nutritional understanding and maybe even the cooking ability to design and stick with an effective plan that you can enjoy. Right? Maybe your repertoire in the cooking department is beans on toast, right? Or you flip it over, you might have the understanding and the ability to, oh, I know what I need to cook, but you lack the motivation.
Mm.
And that is how behavior is shaped, both positively and negatively by the environment. And that keen appreciation of our environment is going to dramatically lift not only your motivation, but your ability, your understanding of the change process, but also the confidence in your ability to do it, right? So this is why I think these calls, this is why I think, showing up daily, even if it's just to say hey in the group or something, is important because although we're dotted around the country and the Southern Hemisphere like Patty and, and the in Canada like Michelle, we are connected via this online platform. So we aren't in the same community in the sense of locally, but we can connect and you're all achieving you know phenomenal stuff. You're all on fantastic, doing fantastically. So we need to touch base, I feel, a bit more with people who are succeeding like that because in your own world, people might not be on a similar sort of journey. You know, there's people that might not even get your journey. The only person who gets my journey in my immediate circle in this household is Viola. Right? She
Mm.
knows exactly what we're doing. Her mum doesn't get it, and that's fine. Her brother doesn't get it, and that's fine. So I need to be around people who are winning and people who are aligning with what I'm trying to do. And that's the hardest part. It's about the environment because you can have all the motivation in the world, but with the environment not conducive to you, it's going to be a bit more of a challenge because no one can make us change unless I suppose, unless we truly want to change. I've had calls with, and this should be self-evident. I've had calls with people, and I've been like, oh yeah, how long? And I've wanted it more than them, and I'm just been like, this isn't this isn't going to work. And one full transparency, one lady got really arsy with me because I said this isn't a good fit. This isn't because I feel like I want this more for you than you want it yourself. And she got defensive, and I think that is and there was no malice in it. It's just really like, I can tell you exactly what you need to do, but you're not going to do it.
Mm.
And I never said it in that way, but her defense mechanism was like, it was as if a bit of a damage to the ego. and it was like, okay, cool, we're done here then, bye. And and the way that I see that is because she's projecting that sort of that defensiveness because she knows that she needs to change, but it's not something she's willing to do, right? Change
Mm.
has to come from within. It can't be dictated, it can't be demanded, it can't be forced upon you. You know, a man or a woman does not wholeheartedly commit if they do not commit to wholeheartedly to change, it will never happen. And that's a hard truth to sort of to absorb because some people might say they want to change, but they don't really mean it. And that brings me back to my point of this weekend. I'm not saying that I those foods are bad. I'm not at all. But I know because I have them. But my focus is so strong right now, and I keep thinking if I just stay the course. Basically, for me, if I have a bit of if I have a burger tonight, I know what's going to happen Sunday. It's going to be a very non-productive day for me. It's going to be sweets. I'm going to go shopping tonight for the all the sweets, and Sunday will, and then Monday um I'll be reactive Monday. I won't be proactive. I'll be behind the eight ball, so to speak. So this is the reason why I don't want it. Not because I'm not very good with, just I want to have one meal and they'll be fine. I'm not very good at that. Um, and that is for me the reason why I don't want to. Like I want to be. I've got 5 weeks before we head to the UK. I really want to just be boom, boom, boom. I've got some goals that I just don't want to, So like for me, like I really want to change. So I'm not gonna, and I really mean it. I'm not gonna sort of sway that. But that environment around me is challenging. Um, so 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 it gets a bit more challenging, a bit more stubborn there, and there's certain, I suppose, belief triggers that are stopping that sort of behavioral change for some people in its tracks. And I think, you know, I my mission is to just help women become the person they want to be. Not tell them who that person is. They tell us, I want to be this, I want to be this, I want to be this. All right, let's do it. Let's get there. And that's sort of what the post was about yesterday. It's
Mm.
about we get to work with some, you lot, some awesome women, and it's just, whatever you want to become, we'll facilitate that, and that your willingness to want to change is the sort of the motivation it gives us to be, oh fuck, okay, she's doing this, and this. She really wants this change. It's just awesome. But I think for most people, they won't get that. Like there's that saying from was it Henry Ford? I can't remember who it was. He said something like if whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. And in I can't remember the exact quote, but in essence is saying that if you believe you will be overweight your whole life, you'll be overweight.
Mm.
If you believe that you will get to the weight that you want to get to, then if you really wholeheartedly believe it, you will find ways because your subconscious will, if it's, let's say, overweight, your subconscious will find ways to sabotage you. And that narrative that you tell yourself when things get a bit challenging is going to be at your detriment rather than for your well, for your future, I suppose. Um, and this is I want to talk a bit more about on another call identity and the shape. I was going to talk about that this week, but I thought behavior change is important because when I had this conversation this morning, I was like, that is very relevant. I'm doing really well, and then they're trying to change my behavior, not being malicious or anything, but um, yeah, I think it's just an interesting thing. So I think one of the things there's some beliefs actually we need to get out of the way for behavior change because there's people have said that in the past, I have sort of Willpower, I don't give in to temptation, and willpower is a big one that comes up with something like that. I don't have enough willpower. Um, and people who have willpower, they're just really strong. And I'm very weak around that. And I don't think this is the case at all. I think it's silly to think that somebody is strong or weak regarding willpower. I think m few of us can accurately gauge how much willpower you've got. Like if I said to you, right, cool, Patty, how much willpower you got? And you're like, well, uh, some. Like you can't gauge it, right? Sometimes you'll have days where you'll be like 100%. Some days it'll be like 0%. I've got nothing. Like often chronically we overestimate it, but we also underestimate the triggers in our environment that lead us astray. And this is where our environment is a magnificent willpower reduction machine. There was there was a book on the Trojan War, and this one point there was this the ship had to pass the sirens whose voices sort of lure the sailors to death on the rocks, and he basically talks about few of us. The basis of that part is few of us foresee the challenges that we're going to face in the future, right? Or even today. And as a result of that, the willpower we assume when we set the goal rarely measures up to the willpower we're going to need to display in achieving that goal. There's always going to be something that's going to come up and sink our boat, right? And that sort of belief that delivers that overconfidence. We don't need more motivation. We need a system, and we need to just go boom. We need to just follow this, right? There's a lot of there's a lot of things to unpack with change, and I think that I could go on to so many different belief triggers that are stopping that behavioral change in place. There's loads of people that say to us, you know, I shouldn't need help and structure, or at least I'm better than so and so, so and so, and things like that. We award ourselves a free pass because we're not the worst in the world. At least I'm not as bad as my sister who's overweight and got diabetes. So that's your excuse to take it easy. That you lower your bar on your motivation, you lower your bar on your discipline. Other people have to change more than we do, and that sort of triggers a false sense of immunity. And it's the same with a belief trigger that is like if any of this kind of stuff comes up in calls, I'll call it out. Or if it comes up in the initial call, it's like a red flag as well because people say, "Oh, I don't need help and structure. I know what I need to do." One of the most dysfunctional beliefs is our contempt for simplicity and structure. We believe that we're so above needing structure to help us on seemingly simple tasks. If I asked you, how many of you for the past 30 days have reported non-negotiables? How many of you have ticked them all off? Not many is going to be able to say, done them all, ticked them all off, overachieved. Like it's hard, right? So we do need help. We do need structure. And I think that that is a belief that will subconsciously stop you from achieving what you want to do. And it's I hear loads of it. You know, I won't get tired. My enthusiasm's going to be fine. When and sometimes you might feel like that. I'm absolutely on it today. But when you have a long day, when you feel exhausted, what do we default to then? Because
Mm.
when we plan our goals, we're there in the morning, we've got our coffee, we're like, oh, my energy's not going to flag. This is especially true for me. And my energy won't flag. I'm never going to lose my enthusiasm to achieving this goal. And that self-control it's limited. It's a limited resource. And it begins to wane, especially as I become deeper into the dietary phase, and that sheer effort of sticking with going for a walk today, that depletes me. And then there's And then there's the expectation. I don't know if there's any specific ones that come up to you, ladies, that you've you've noticed recently or in the past that you've said to yourself that are trying to potentially holding you back. But one that we've heard quite a bit is I don't necessarily think this is what we hear, but I think this is what people are waiting for, that an epiphany is going to change their life. An epiphany implies that sort of a change will arise, and then you get a sudden burst of insight. Of course, like for example, an alcoholic who hits rock bottom, a gambler that goes broke, whatever it is. Oh, I've seen the light now. It's more often than not, it's not an epiphany that experienced this magical thinking. I'm skeptical of stuff like that. It might produce change in the short run, but nothing meaningful or lasting because the process is based on impulse rather than strategy. Like if you're being impulsive, it's going to be it's going to be short-lived. It's hopes and prayers. It's no structure. Um and that's something we've heard in in calls as well, not coaching calls, but in people who want to join the program. So I think there's things that you need to watch out for because there's also one that's going that also comes up is no one's paying attention to me. We believe that we can occasionally lapse back into bad behavior because people aren't paying close attention. Are we practically invisible? And that triggers, and we've experienced this with one of our ladies just joined the program. She's not on the call now, but she's like, I'm just stay in the house, just a hermit. And it triggers that isolation. When you believe that, it's only half true, right? While your slow and steady improvement may not be as obvious to others in the outside world as it is to us, you can sometimes revert to previous behavior. People will notice, and you will notice that I'm not too sure who exactly got an iPhone 2. I'm not too sure who that is, but you'll notice people like Andrea, for example, lost a lot of weight and she hasn't seen someone for ages, and fucking hell, what have you been doing? You're looking amazing, and that kind of stuff. She's not. I mean, she is noticing, but it's not as obvious. But people are always noticing. People will always notice your changes. So, I think that some of having some of these beliefs, if you have them, we need to sort of analyze them a bit because they're going to be things that are going to try and pull you off track or are steering you already off track. It comes from overconfidence, it comes from stubbornness, it comes from magical thinking, whatever it is, they're rationalizations for us to stay in the status quo, to stay in the now. And that is important because we know how important the environment is. Our environment drives our success or our failures. If we have a cupboard full of chocolate all the time, it's a lot harder to change than if we had a cupboard full of vegetables. Very simple. Very simple. We know that. Can any of you right now think of I mean, if you've got questions about environment, can any of you think of a time when you found it particularly challenging around a specific environment?
My sister has been coming to me for the last 2 weeks. I normally go to her on a Friday night,
Yeah,
and she's been coming to me because I can't drive yet.
yeah.
And each week she's brought cake or,
Mhm.
something that I haven't been eating for a long time now. And the temptation, I have to admit, yesterday I gave in because today is my birthday and I'm not going to see her today.
Happy
So I,
birthday.
I gave in yesterday. Thank you. Gave in yesterday and I did have a piece of cake because it was my birthday.
Yeah,
But, but at the end of the day, I'm thinking, the whole time I was eating it, I'm thinking, I'm only having this. I'm only having this.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not having
yeah.
any more. So that's new that I would never have thought that in the past. I would go back for a second piece. So that's a change for me. And I'm really enjoying that I can do that. So
Yeah, it's good. I think, I think, yeah, but instances like that is absolutely. reason why we would have cake and stuff like that. It's a celebration of you. It's a celebration with somebody you love, and it's I don't ever want chicken and broccoli with for my birthday. But I think there's if there's sort of something to say about environment, I think it's that we think that we're pure we think we're in sync with our environment, but the environment is actually at war with us, I think, because we think that we're in control of all of our environment, but it what like oh, I'm addicted to these, by the way, these monsters. I have it before I go gym. And if it's there, I only have one a day, but if it's there, I'm in control of that. I can have that if I want to. Um, but actually, more often than not, the environment controls us. We
Mm.
think that this external environment is conspiring in our favor, that it's helping us. It's actually taxing, it's draining us. It's not interested in what it can give us. It's only interested in what it can take from us. And if it sounds like I'm treating our environment like your life's arch enemy, that's intentional. It's because I want us to think of our environment as if it were a person. It's imminent, it's our arch rival across the table. Our environment is not merely the space, beyond our fingertips and our skin. It's a being. It's not like the air. It's not Yeah, it's not like the air around us. It's that's something we inhale and exhale. It's a non-stop triggering mechanism. And that I don't want to use that cake as an example, but let's use a coffee break. When you go for a coffee break, either at work or everyone's having tea and biscuits and stuff like that, that is a non-stop triggering mechanism whose impact on our behavior is too significant to be ignored. Right? How hard is it to not have a biscuit or something when that's happening? So I want you to think of it as an arch enemy, and I want you to think of, okay, let's think of a strategy that lets us finally see what we're up against. Some people call them, some people in the past have given their environment a name, and I don't think it's all bad. It's not like, oh, because our environment can be the angel on our shoulder, making us a better person. When we find ourselves at sort of a wedding or something, or awards dinner, whatever, and you've got that awesome vibe. There's a joyous spark. Everyone's feeling fantastic. Everyone's hugging and promising, stay in touch. Yeah. Oh my God, so good to see you at the wedding. I can't believe it. Let's get together real soon. Of course, that fades the moment, we turn to our sort of regular lives. In other words, we find ourselves in a different environment. We are altered by the change. We forget our promises. We don't follow up. We don't stay in touch. The contrast couldn't be more stark, right? So one environment elevates us. The other one erases the good vibes as if they never happened. So much of the time, our environment is that sort of devil, so to speak. There's that part that alludes to us, that eludes us. Entering a new environment changes our behavior in sort of sly ways. It's whether we're. I think Jack's crying to come in the. I can hear him. Um, so our environment changes us in sort of dodgy ways, in sneaky ways. It's if you're sitting in a conference room, or you're say with colleagues, or visiting friends for dinner, or whether it's on the phone to a loved one, you know for example, me and Viola are not cynical people, right? We um you know that it's my job to sort of, I suppose, be the positive beacon. I make a conscious effort to accept people's weaknesses, like myself, let it go. Um, and Jack, my gosh, I can just hear him. I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can't because the mic's
No,
angled at
no.
me. Oh my God. Um, and I'm gonna have to just pull him away. 2 seconds. So annoying. I'll go call Viola to get him away. Bless. Give me 2 seconds. And no, she's not answering. It's all good. I just have to get away from that distraction. I can't concentrate when he's there. 2 seconds. My love, come on.
These dogs knocking around in the background. She's yelling out at Viola to come and get the dog because she can't concentrate because the dog's making lots of noise.
Viola's probably still in bed. Try and
Yeah.
get some peace. I don't know.
Mm.
It's okay, buddy. No, you can't come in.
He's going to be even closer now.
Oh, she can't hear me because I'm up like 2 flights of stairs. Um, she'll grab him in a second. I don't know if she's in the shower. I'm not sure. Um, okay, what was I talking about?
Um,
Cynical. I'm not cynical,
Yeah.
yeah.
but my mum won't watch this. But I find myself being a bit of a gossiper when I'm with my mum, and I'm different. I'm different. Like I'm not a completely, I'm not like this two-faced bastard, but I'm a bit more like chatty about my auntie and stuff like because my mum is like her relationship with my aunties and stuff is very terrible. It's really bad. Like we used to be really close when we were younger. Loads of family drama happened. We are not on speaking terms. And I don't entertain that. I don't care about that. But my mom is like, have you heard the news? You heard the news? Yeah, he's gone to prison. Yeah, and stuff like that. And I'm like, I find myself getting caught up in this stuff and then being a bit more gossipy. I'm like, what the fuck? Me and Viola never talk like that. Like when it's just me and her, we're never going, can't believe it. And so that environment around my mum, who I love dearly, changes me a bit. I can become a bit different. Um, and and you can be similar. You can be positive in some aspect, but I don't want to be that snarky talking about um cousins and stuff like that, as if as if they are beneath us or anything like that. And but I've been searching for sort of the reasons why my unusual behavior or our unusual behavior is like that because and but the only conclusion I've come to is that it's the only variable is that the people that we were with and the settings that we found ourselves in, aka the environment, is it is the cause. It's the same way that people talk. I suppose it's mirroring, isn't it? Some people will talk softly with the soft-spoken person. Some people will talk maybe speed up their speech when talking with a fast person. So our opinions are fundamentally altered inside that sort of, I suppose, environment, that conversation bubble. And then what one sometimes altering one factor can turn it into an ideal environment. Sometimes disaster, gossip, gossip girls sort of thing, right? It changes everybody in the room and how they react to us. And I've started to notice myself a lot more with my mum. I call her out on that stuff. She knows now. This used to be heaps load all the time when I was in Australia. She'd call me gossiping. Oh, have you heard what's name's done? And in the end, I'd say, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in what you've been up to and stuff like that. And now the updates that come through when I chat to her, it's 99% positive. She still tries to sneak in something there. But I was thinking that's not. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be because it fills me with negative energy. It fills me with a feeling I don't like. I don't like talking about people like that, even if
Mm.
they are people that my mum's not on good terms with. Um, and you know, turn down. I had to just have that conversation with her because I was like, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. I don't want to talk to you and waste time gossiping about others that I'm sending mental bandwidth to. I care about, me, Yola, you guys, I want to know about that. And that because that's all the bandwidth I've got. If I divert resources to talking about my auntie and stuff like that, um, it takes away from people who I love and obviously myself as well. And that was a big part of me because the way that I came to that was I looked inward. I was like, why am I like that when I'm with her? And I think that really brought home to me how important environment is.
Mm.
How important it is that the people around you are uplifting, people around you are winning, not whingers. I mean, I'm not always a winner, but I'll always find a way to make a change. Like me whinging about this burger they're trying to make me go on, trying to do it in a nice way. But like it's really hard. The environment is the driving thing, and you know I don't like the environment is key. There was a sort of I'll give you a quick one more example. When I was in a gym manager in Australia, I there was these sales competition that I we won. We won against the whole nation of the other gyms. I did everything. He was like, do whatever it takes to win, and I did everything. And it negatively impacted my health because it was 2 weeks of just non-stop. I was just doing so many hours work, so many hours work. But that environment of everybody everybody doing whatever it takes, it it was, I mean, we achieved what we needed to achieve, but um it was not the environment I wanted to be in long term, and that's obviously why I eventually put
Sustainable.
it away. And I think that's important. You got to ask yourself, is my environment right now conducive to where I want to go? Right? If our environment is challenging or needs tweaking, how can I tweak it? What can I tweak in my favor? You don't need to overhaul it. Don't get rid of your partners. It's not like that. It's just like what is going to be the thing that's going to drive more positive behavior. It doesn't need to be what is going to be the thing that's going to make me, you know, skinny in 4 weeks. Okay, remove all the food from the house and only have vegetables. Like it's what is the thing that's going to improve my positive outcomes by 1% every day? Let's start doing that. What are the environmental changes? If you got loads of sweets on the counter, can we put them away from the eyes? Can we put them above eyesight so when you do open the cupboard, they're not literally
Everything you
staring
and
directly? Like think of environmental changes like that. Think of it and think about your specific environment and go, okay, what specific changes do I need to make my environment just a bit better than it is now? I want to obviously open up any questions um, about environment and behavior change. Any questions? It's a good turnout considering I'll let you know like a day before.
that's the
Proud of you.
trick, obviously. Yeah.
Proud of you. Yeah, that's it. Everyone
Yeah.
live now. Fuck, let's get on.
Yeah.
Is there any questions about behavior change? Anybody got any issues? It doesn't have to be about behavior. Any struggles you've got? If you say you've got no struggles, then I'll have a look at
Yeah.
all of your apps. I'll have a look at everything and I'll find
Yeah.
one. Is there any struggles?
I mean, for me at the moment, it's more physical because I'm not able to stand for very long at the moment.
Yeah.
And cooking, I've had to. when Terry was at home, we were given a perching stool, and I've had my son dig it out of the garage for me and clean it up. So I'm using that, but I keep forgetting to use it, and then I pay for it for the rest of the day.
What's a perching stool? Like a seat that's like angled, sort of, so you
Yeah,
just pop your bum on it.
yeah, yeah, and it is
Cool.
so useful when I use it,
Yeah.
but I keep forgetting because I'm going back to how I was before my op, and it's so hard to. That's another. It's a routine. It's a habit of just use the stool, and
What
I just keep
what
forgetting.
do you use it for cooking mainly?
Yeah, yeah, because that's when I'm on
So
my feet longest.
what's the best way to make sure you use the stool?
Well, I actually put it right next to the cooker,
Put it in front of the
but
cooker.
yeah, but the time that I should be using it most, I think, is when I'm chopping things, because that's when
Yeah.
I struggle. And I'm not moving it across, I'm just getting on and
Oh, okay.
chopping because I'm to and from the fridge.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that's something I'm struggling with at the moment. But I don't want it to become my new habit, but it needs to be in place at the moment.
Yeah, but it won't be. I think that it's a means to an end at the moment. It's going to help the recovery.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be something that you just pick up and you go, "Oh, I've lost all mobility. I really struggle."
No,
Because I think that when you start to get a bit more strength back, you'll be able to go back
don't
on
need it.
walks and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think yeah, put it near the chopping board then if that's when you need it most.
Yeah, yeah.
Helpful.
So it's between the hob and the chopping board I need to put it. So yeah,
The
yeah,
the the physical challenges are the hardest, I think, because you've with specifically weight loss, there's two levers that we pull, and one of them is food, of course. One of them is neat, and there's obviously loads of little levers, but these are the two major ones. So you at the moment can't, and same with Patty, you can't really pull the
no,
neat lever much. It's like it's jammed. You're like, so like there's hyper focus on that one lever delivering all the results really. Puts a
mm,
lot of pressure on it, doesn't it? It's hard.
yeah,
And this is why this is how you can probably see how people who are immobile or well, if I don't say immobile, sedentary,
mm,
they can be eating well and they
mm,
cannot be losing weight because it is hard. Like you are basically working with one side of the equation. The other side is going, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Because you're injured
yeah,
or something. It's just like, I'm not doing anything. So you're like, okay,
no,
I'm stuck here. What do I need to do?
yeah,
And it just needs hyper focus on that thing is a big reliability. And it's frustrating because it's slower.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
think I'm
but
finding that really hard at the moment because I'm used to moving and I just can't.
yeah,
So yeah,
it's mental health as well. Like the mental health takes a hit
yeah,
with lack of movement, especially when you're used to it. Whether it's
yeah,
just getting out for some fresh air, whether it's, the actual endorphin rush you get from a nice little workout or a nice little walk in the
yeah,
forest or whatever, like
mm,
you are limited to that. It's just,
yeah. And obviously, because I can't stand for long at the moment, I can't see Terry, and that's my biggest, angst at the moment because I've not seen him since the 5th of May. And it's really hard. That's the longest I've gone
yeah,
without seeing him,
19
and it's
days. Yeah,
really hard.
that is
Uh,
hard.
yeah, because
Do
apparently
you, sorry.
I ring up regularly, and she does try sometimes to get him to talk on the phone, but he doesn't understand where the voice is coming from anymore. So he just wanders off.
Yeah.
So although I've heard his voice a couple of times, I've not seen him. I've not given him a hug, and got a hug back. And that's what I miss
That
there.
is I mean, it's hard, but it's also a driver to get mobile and
Yeah,
recover as quick as possible, isn't it? So you can go and
yeah.
see him in person.
It is. It is. I mean,
That's
I
hard.
have I've made arrangements for my stepdaughter to take me and see him next week. So she's coming with me so she can do the walking with him and then keep
Yeah.
bringing him back to me so I can see him and chat to him and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So,
That's
yeah.
cool.
And I can
And
hardly wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it's gonna be good. It's after 20 days nearly. It's gonna be
Yeah,
longer than
yeah,
that. Nearly a
Yeah.
month. That'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
There's has anybody got any other questions about anything? Environment, behavior, anything,
Mm.
anything
Oh.
you're struggling with?
Mm.
What was that? Is that you, Patsy? You clearing your throat on that call? You can clear it. Have you got a question? Sometimes I have to like it's like getting blood out of a stone, getting the questions out. Like, and then you'll message me after. I wanted to ask. I was a bit scared.
I've got a copy of I suppose it's a small poem called If. And what you were saying before, if you believe something, that's what you will happen. And this poem, it's anonymous, but I'll photograph it and put it on the page. And it is that, if you
Yeah.
believe this, that will happen. So I'll put it on the page later on.
Have
So
you
Actually, that's
have
a really old poem. I had
it
that from
is,
like
yeah.
when I was in high school
yeah,
and
yeah,
had it written down on
yeah,
my door so that every day I was reading it.
yeah, yeah. It's a good motivator though.
It is.
Yeah.
I think I don't know who said it. I know it says anonymous, but the power of I don't know if any of you have ever read um was it is it called The Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck? I don't know if any of you have ever read that book or if you're into if the books that you read are mostly
Because I'm on
sort
my
of
call.
sorry? Oh, you
I
can't
was
see your
just
mum.
talking to my mother.
I'm not too sure if it's like a book that you would read, but it's interesting because it basically it's a modern psychology take on that, and it's about having a growth mindset and fixed mindset. I've talked about this loads in the past. I'm happy to talk more about it because I find it fascinating. But in essence, a fixed mindset is basically a victim mindset. People who will find faults. I couldn't do that because of this, and this, rather than ways to overcome what they need to do, which is a growth mindset. Or they see challenges. People in a growth mindset will see challenges as opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. Whereas people who, a fixed mindset will see challenges as a burden or, oh my God, why is this happening to me? You know what I mean? And we all have that. We'll all have mixtures of both. It's not just like I've got a growth mindset and I'm perfect, or I've got a fixed mindset and I'm just the victim. Like we'll have pockets of our life based on our experiences. For example, through work, through sports. If you've been absolutely shit at sports your whole life, you're probably going to be more fixed mindset about that. I've never been athletic. That's a fixed mindset because it's normally the experiences you've had. Maybe you've never been athletic because you got picked last, first and foremost at gym school, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm just to get the person who gets picked last then, and then your behaviors would follow something like that. Okay, I'm not going to partake in this particular sport because I'm crap anyway. I always get picked last. So and then conversely, it might be like you've ascended the career ladder, or you're just the perfect mother, and your mindset around that is purely growth mindset, and it's just like if they've got an issue, no worries, we'll tackle this together. What's the problem? We'll have pockets of our life where we will be in a fixed mindset, and it's up to us to notice that. And pockets of our life when we're in a growth mindset, we're like absolutely flying. I will put up a little. I did. We've created a little graphic of that before, so I'll find that. But that's if you want me to talk more on that. I love that because there's some books that have just really changed the way I've thought about a lot of things. Mindset wise. One is Carol Dweck. She's fantastic. And then one is by um, Maxwell. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. I'm reading it again. Um, that's what I love those books because they completely shift my mindset. So
Mhm.
I'll share a screenshot after this of that Carol Dweck sort of graphic. I'm sure I had it of like a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, just to give you an idea. And if you're like, do a live on this, the last time I did it was maybe 2 years ago. So I'm happy to talk more on that because I think that's absolutely fantastic. I love that one. So I'll do that for you if that's what you want. But
Mhm.
I've kept you an hour. All good.
Wow. Mhm. That's great.
Hopefully, yeah, I just got a text from Viola. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was in the shower, left the door. I was
Yeah.
shouting. I was like, Viola, because we're like, I'm sort of in the loft, so to speak. So like, no one can hear me.
Yeah.
So
Noise
she
travels
couldn't hear me.
upwards. Yeah. Yeah.
The voice was not traveling. Oh, it's all good.
I appreciate
But
I appreciate these lives because it helps me to keep on track. It gives me that a little bit of accountability as well, rather than just getting on with it. Having a
yeah,
live, it sort of gives you, you can't be losing at everything. You can't be getting everything wrong because you've got a live on Saturday. So, yeah,
yeah. So you feel like do you feel like it's the connection though with everybody on, or do you feel like it's the seeing my face and knowing I'm there? You know what I
I think
mean?
a bit of both because although I'm not
Yeah, it's
really
the
that,
connection.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I'm
And
not
just
really,
kind of hearing your voice and you talking about it, it kind of, for me, re-energizes me,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it kind of helps get my mindset back to where it should be. Like, I mean, I need you in my pocket or like right beside my ear all the time. Like, don't eat that.
Yeah, yeah.
I need you here this weekend while I'm at my mom's because the treats always taste better when you're at your mom's.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true.
yeah.
She's like, do you eat like this at home? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't eat all of this crap at home because
No,
I'm here. Tastes better at
The,
my mom's.
yeah.
yeah, that's what I've tried to do with the podcast. So you've got us on demand
Hmm.
as well. I know the lives are good because I love this little last bit. I like the talk, but I like the little connection at the end.
Hmm.
Um, but the podcast one is like if you're like I'm struggling, let's listen to a podcast. But you still need sometimes you need that's quite passive, isn't it? Because you're like, I'm struggling. I don't want to listen to that because I don't want to feel I don't want to feel better. I want food to make me feel better, not Dean's voice or Viola's voice.
Yeah.
But these lives, it's just like, oh God, he's live. I can't avoid that.
No,
Um,
it's not a dread. It's something
no,
I look
no,
forward to. It's something I look forward to because I know it will, like, I can't remember who it was, said, it re-energizes. It
Michelle,
gives you that
yeah, yeah.
extra boost to keep going, don't give up. So, yeah, I do think they're very important. So,
Thank you. All right, cool. So we'll do the live on identity change next week. Because that's a deep one, that is. That'll take us a while because we're talking specifically about literally, physically, mentally transforming you. Not just like, oh, I need to change. I need to, not like wishing away with the fairies, but real transformative change. So we'll go through that next week. All right.
mhm.
I'm sorry we kept you so long.
No, no,
My apologies. Enjoy
no,
enjoy your weekend, all of you, and thanks for such a big turnout. Appreciate
yeah.
it.
Thank you.
All right, no worries.
Thanks a
See you,
lot.
Beverly. Bye, Sharon. Bye,
Bye.
Carol. Bye, Michelle. Bye,
Bye.
Patty. That's all. Awesome. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.